Heart disease isn't really a plumbing problem. It's a fire. For decades, we pictured it like a drain. Grease builds in a pipe, the pipe narrows, one day it clogs. Simple, and mostly wrong. What truly drives most heart attacks isn't clogging at all. It's inflammation. A slow, quiet fire smoldering inside the wall of your arteries. Here's the good news. Two foods sitting in most kitchens can help calm that fire. Not magic. Not a fix-all. Not a replacement for anything your doctor prescribed, but real, measurable, and backed by some of the strongest nutrition research we've got. So today, the two foods, what that artery fire really is, and why it burns hotter past 60, how each one works, in plain words, how much to eat, and the version that's a waste of money if you buy it wrong, and the honest line on what these foods can't do. Because you deserve the real story, not a sales pitch. That last part matters most. First, why this is worth 10 minutes of your time. Heart disease is still the #1 killer of older adults, ahead of every cancer. And its cruelest trick is silence. That fire in the artery wall sends no pain, no warning, for years, none at all. Plenty of people feel perfectly fine right up until the day they don't. So feeling okay is not the same as being okay. This is about what's happening quietly, under the surface, while you feel just fine. Let's start with the fire, because once you see it, the rest clicks. Every artery is lined on the inside with a smooth, living layer, thinner than a sheet of paper. Picture it as the artery's skin. It has a name, the endothelium, and it does real work. It keeps blood gliding through, and it decides when the vessel relaxes and opens. Here's its master tool, a tiny signal called nitric oxide. When the lining is healthy, it releases nitric oxide. The vessel relaxes, blood flows easy, pressure stays down. When the lining is irritated, that signal fades. The vessel tightens, and trouble begins. That lining is busier than it looks. It's the largest organ you've never heard of, spread across every vessel in your body, and it sets the tone for your whole circulation. Keep it happy, and a lot of heart trouble simply never gets started. So much of this comes down to protecting one paper-thin layer. So what irritates it? Quite a lot, really. High blood pressure pounding the wall, high blood sugar, cigarette smoke, extra weight around the middle, and plain years of wear. When that lining is irritated, cholesterol particles slip underneath it. And right there, the fire catches. How does it catch? Those trapped particles oxidize. They go rancid, in a sense, like butter left out too long. Rancid is the trigger. And that word, oxidize, is the key to all of it. Cholesterol just sitting in your blood isn't the real villain. It's cholesterol that has gone rancid, oxidized, that your body treats as an emergency. Stop the oxidizing, and you quiet the alarm, because it's exactly how the first food works. Your immune system spots the mess and rushes cells in to clean it up. A reasonable response, but it backfires, because the cleanup never finishes. The immune cells pile in, get stuck, and a small mound builds in the wall. That mound is plaque. And plaque is not a dead lump of grease. It's a living, smoldering patch of inflammation. A slow burn that can run for years with no symptom at all. None. So why does that matter so much? Because of what a flare can do. When the smolder suddenly flares hot, the surface of a plaque can crack. A clot forms over the crack in seconds. And that clot is what slams the artery shut and sets off a heart attack. So the real danger isn't only how big a plaque is, it's how angry it is. A small, furious plaque can be deadlier than a big, quiet one. Inflammation is the difference. Can doctors even see this fire? In a way, yes. There's a blood marker called CRP, C-reactive protein, that climbs when inflammation runs through the body. Think of it as a smoke detector for the fire inside you. A higher number tracks with higher heart risk. You can ask for it by name. The sensitive version is HSCRP. And here's a cruel loop worth understanding. Inflammation damages the lining. A damaged lining lets in more cholesterol. More cholesterol means more inflammation. Round and round, each turn feeding the next. The good news hidden in that loop? Break it at any point, and the whole cycle slows. Calm the inflammation, and the lining gets a chance to recover. That's the door these two foods walk through. Now, why does the fire burn hotter past 60? Two reasons, and they stack. More years of wear on that lining, and the body's background inflammation tends to drift upward with age anyway. More fuel, more time. That's the hard half of the truth. Here's the hopeful half, the whole reason we're here. That artery lining is not fixed and finished. It answers, week by week, to what lands on your plate. Feed it wrong, and you fan the fire. Feed it right, and you help cool it. So let's feed it right. Two foods, two different jobs. Food number one, extra virgin olive oil. You may have heard olive oil is just fat, or even that it clogs arteries. Both flat wrong. Extra virgin olive oil is one of the most studied, most consistently heart-protective foods on the planet, and the reason hides somewhere surprising, in the taste. Ever notice how a really good olive oil stings the back of your throat? That peppery catch that almost makes you cough. That bite is not a flaw. It's a compound called oleocanthal. And oleocanthal behaves in your body a lot like ibuprofen, the same anti-inflammatory in your medicine cabinet. Here's how scientists even found that out, and it's a great story. A researcher noticed that fresh olive oil stung the back of his throat in the very same spot that liquid ibuprofen did. The same odd, peppery catch. He had a hunch the two shared something. He was right. That throat sting led straight to discovering oleocanthal. Your tongue spotted it before the lab did. Let me be careful here, because people run too far with this. A few tablespoons carry only about 1/10 of the dose in one ibuprofen pill. So no, it's not a painkiller. It won't replace one. But here's what it does. Taken day after day, it measurably lowers those inflammation markers, the CRP and others, over weeks and months. Slow, steady cooling. And the fat itself helps too. Olive oil is mostly monounsaturated fat, the friendly kind, which tends to nudge your good cholesterol up and your bad cholesterol down. So it works two fronts at once, the inflammation and the cholesterol balance behind it. And oleocanthal is just one piece. Extra virgin olive oil is also loaded with compounds called polyphenols. What do they do for your arteries? Three jobs worth knowing. First, they keep cholesterol particles from oxidizing, smothering the very first spark. Second, they help the lining make more of that nitric oxide, so vessels relax and open. Third, they make platelets less sticky, less likely to clump into a clot. Stop the spark, open the vessel, calm the clot. One food, three jobs. And this isn't test tube wishful thinking. In a landmark trial called Predimid, thousands of older adults at high heart risk ate a Mediterranean diet rich in extra virgin olive oil, 3 to 4 tablespoons a day. The result? About 30% fewer major events. Heart attacks, strokes, heart-related deaths, compared to a low-fat diet. The number holds up elsewhere, too. Bigger studies since show even an extra tablespoon a day tracks with lower risk, and in long-term scans, steady olive oil users showed slower thickening of the artery wall itself. That's the picture changing in real arteries. And notice what that trial did not do. It did not tell people to eat less. It told them to add these fats. For years, we were sold the idea that the lowest fat diet wins. This was the diet that beat it. So the lesson is simple. The right fats are not the enemy. They're some of your best allies. So how do you use it without wasting money? This is exactly where people get fleeced, so listen close. The words that matter are extra virgin. That's cold-pressed, barely processed, still holding all those polyphenols. The cheaper stuff labeled just olive oil, or light, or pure, has been refined and stripped of most of the good. Same look, not the same food. 1 to 2 tablespoons a day is plenty. And a small trick: those polyphenols are a little fragile in high heat. You can cook with olive oil. That old fear is overblown, but most of the good survives when you use it raw. So drizzle it. Over vegetables, over fish, over soup, into a salad dressing, after the cooking's done. How do you pick a good bottle? 3 quick tells. Look for a harvest date. Fresher is stronger. Choose a dark glass bottle. Light wears it down. And trust your tongue. The more it peppers your throat, the more oleocanthal is inside. A flavorless oil is a weak one. Store it dark and cool, away from the stove. And how do you fit it in day to day? Easier than you think. Swap it in where butter or a bland oil used to go. Drizzle it over roasted vegetables. Whisk it with lemon for a dressing. Pour a little over your soup at the table. A small daily habit. A big, quiet payoff. That's food 1. Food number 2. Fatty fish. The rich, oily ones. Salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, trout. What makes them special is the omega-3 fats packed inside, the two called EPA and DHA. And notice which fish made the list. The oily, darker fleshed ones. A lean, white fish like tilapia or cod is perfectly fine food, but it carries very little of these omega-3s. So when we say fatty fish, we mean it. The fat is the good part here. And here's where it gets remarkable. Olive oil mostly prevents the fire, stopping the spark. Fatty fish does the other half. It helps put the fire out. How does it pull that off? Your body takes those omega-3 fats and builds them into signals with a perfect name, resolvins, as in to resolve. These molecules tell an inflammation to wind down and clear out once its work is done. If immune cells are the firefighters rushing in, resolvins are the call that finally sends them home. And most of us run low on the raw material to make enough. Fatty fish is that raw material. You might wonder, can I just get omega-3 from flaxseed or walnuts? A little. But your body turns the plant kind into the powerful kind very poorly, often just a few percent of it. So the fish, or other seafood, is where the real supply comes from. Plants help, fish delivers. But omega-3s don't stop there. They lower triglycerides, a blood fat tied straight to heart risk. They help the lining relax and open. They steady the heart's rhythm. They calm the stickiness of platelets, much like the olive oil. A lot of quiet good from one humble food. Is the evidence solid? It goes back decades. People who eat fatty fish at least twice a week carry a lower risk of dying from heart disease. In one early trial, heart attack survivors simply told to eat more oily fish had nearly 30% fewer deaths over the next 2 years. Nearly a third, from fish. So how much, and how do we make it doable on a budget? The target is 2 servings a week. And what's a serving? About the size of your palm, 3 to 4 ounces. Now I can hear the objection. Fresh salmon's pricey, and you're not pan-searing fish twice a week. You don't have to. Here's what nobody mentions. Canned salmon and canned sardines count, fully. Shelf-stable for years, no cooking at all. A tin of sardines on whole-grain toast. Canned salmon forked into a salad. That's a serving, for the price of a coffee. Need it even simpler? 2 easy fish moments a week does it. Sardines on toast one day, a canned salmon salad the next, or a quick salmon patty in the pan. You're not cooking gourmet. You're opening a tin twice a week. That's the whole trick. One safety word, because it matters at our age. Lean on the low-mercury choices and you're in luck. Salmon, sardines, and trout are all low in mercury and high in omega-3. The ones to limit are the big predator fish, swordfish, and king mackerel, which carry more mercury. The everyday fish on our list are the safe, smart picks. Now the honest catch on fish, and almost nobody says it out loud. The fish works. The fish oil pills are another story. For general heart health, study after study finds omega-3 supplements give little to no benefit. Nothing like the fish itself. And at high doses, the capsules can nudge up the risk of an irregular heartbeat. There is one prescription, high-dose version that helped a specific group of high-risk patients, but that's a medicine a doctor prescribes, not the tub on the drugstore shelf. So don't grab fish oil pills and assume you've checked the box. Eat the fish. The whole food is what earned the research. So why these two foods together? Because between them, they cover the fire from both ends. Picture it. Olive oil keeps the spark from catching, blocking the oxidation that starts the chain. Fatty fish helps put out the flames that already caught through those resolvins. One prevents, one resolves. They're the two great fats at the center of the Mediterranean table, and they were never meant to work alone. So put them on one plate. Salmon, a drizzle of peppery olive oil, a big pile of vegetables. That single ordinary plate is doing more for your arteries than any shelf in the supplement aisle. And it adds up faster than you'd think. Olive oil on most days, fish twice a week. A plate built on vegetables. That isn't a strict diet. It's a handful of easy habits. The people in those Mediterranean studies weren't suffering through their meals. They were enjoying some of the best eating on earth, and their hearts were better for it. And one bigger picture note, while we're here. These two foods do their best work when they're not fighting a losing battle. Pair them with plenty of vegetables, and go easy on the things that feed the fire. The heavily processed, sugary, deep-fried stuff. You don't need a perfect diet. You need the fire coolers in, and the fire feeders dialed down. Balance, not punishment. And watch for the common mistakes, because they quietly cancel the benefit. Here are 4. Buying the cheap refined oil and thinking it's the same. Frying the life out of it on high heat. Reaching for fish oil pills instead of fish. And expecting a change in a week. Avoid those 4, and you're already ahead of most people. But now I owe you the honest ceiling on all of this. So how far does this really go? These two foods will not dissolve plaque that's already built up. They won't undo 20 years of wear in a week or a month. And here's the big one. So hear it plainly. They are not a replacement for any medication your doctor prescribed. If you take a statin or blood pressure pills, these foods work alongside that medicine, not instead of it. Do not hear any of this as permission to stop something. That's a conversation for your doctor. Never a guess at the kitchen table. So what do these foods really do? Something real, but gradual, and mostly preventive. They lower the smolder. They nudge your numbers the right way over months, the CRP, the triglycerides, the blood pressure, a little at a time. They tilt the odds in your favor over years. Not a flashy promise, a true one. And true beats flashy every time. Let me knock down 2 myths while we're here, because they cost people. First, olive oil does not clog arteries. The research says the opposite, and it's some of the most consistent in all of nutrition. Second, fish does not have to be fancy or expensive. And for salmon and sardines, the mercury worry is small. Don't let either myth talk you out of 2 of the simplest wins you've got. What should you expect, week to week? Not fireworks. This is quiet work. You won't feel your arteries cooling. You might see it first in your numbers at the next checkup. A calmer CRP, easier triglycerides. The real reward is the one you can't feel. A fire burning a little lower, year after year, in walls you'll never see. Quiet, steady, real. And here's something worth holding on to. That artery lining can recover. It's living tissue, not set in stone. Cool the fire, and it starts doing its job better at any age. It is never too late to start being kind to it. So here's the whole plan. Simple enough to start tonight. 1 to 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil a day, the real peppery kind, used raw. Fatty fish twice a week, and yes, the canned salmon and sardines count. Build the plate around vegetables. Give it months, not days. And keep your doctor in the loop, especially if you take heart or blood pressure medicine. If you want one move to make tonight, make it this. Put a good bottle of extra virgin olive oil on the counter, where you'll see it and use it. And add a few tins of sardines or salmon to your next grocery list. 2 small buys. That's the whole start. Here's the truth to carry out of this. Your arteries are not just hardening pipes waiting to clog. They're living tissue, answering every week to what you feed them. The fire inside is real, but so is your power to help calm it, one ordinary good plate at a time. You're not too late, and you're not powerless. Few things in health are this simple or this good for you. Take care of yourself and the people you love. I'll see you in the next one.